And welcome back at 12 minutes past the hour. 36 hours ago, state representative and Jacksonville native Angie Nixon was considered an underdog in her own party's primary for U.S. Senate. The next morning, this video of her victory speech was leading the Today Show and Good Morning America. She'll now face incumbent U.S. Senator Ashley Moody in November, and we are joined now live in studio by Democratic nominee Angie Nixon. Angie, I understand you are running on just coffee and adrenaline at this point, so we appreciate you joining us this morning. We sincerely do. Not much sleep at all, huh?
Not much sleep,
yeah.
But I don't do coffee, so we're going to try to figure it out.
Okay, good for you. Where's mine? Look, so I understand running on adrenaline right now, which you should be incredibly excited about this because, as I mentioned, you were the underdog in this entire race. But your race, you are known for being a boots on the ground, grassroots type of operation. I want to talk about that. You traveled the entire state. What have you learned throughout the time?
I have definitely traveled the entire state, all the way from the Panhandle to Key West, and we literally did that journey, that trip in one day at one point in time on the campaign trail. But as I travel across the state, what I've been hearing is that people are working harder than ever and they're still just struggling to stay afloat. And they need someone who is actually going to work to help provide relief for them. They are tired of politicians who are only looking out for their campaign donors, who are many times these corrupt corporations or these ultra wealthy millionaires and billionaires. They're ready for someone who understands what it's like to struggle and also understands what it's like to just deal with just the frustration of it all, trying to make ends meet, and who's ready just for change. And so I'm super excited that people trusted me to take on Ashley Moody. Duval came out in record numbers. Shout out to the home street, Moncrief. You know, I was born and raised over there on Moncrief. And so I'm super excited at what this means, especially for us here in Jacksonville. We can potentially have, we will, because I'm going to speak it into existence, a U.S. Senator from Jacksonville, Florida that was born and raised on Moncrief. That's amazing.
You know, I have to ask you this because you mentioned the numbers. Let's talk about the voter turnout numbers. 23% or so in Duval. Overall, in the state of Florida, we saw 25%. I want your reaction to those numbers, one, and how are we going to increase voter turnout come November? What's the plan?
Yeah, for sure. So the numbers were a little bit low. However, here in Duval County, I had over 80% that voted for me within our Democratic primary. And what we're going to do is we are going to just expand the reach. You know, we had a really strategic target in regards to our win number to make it out of the primary, but we're going to expand and we're going to go talk to everyone, even folks who may not necessarily be ideologically aligned with me. We're going to have conversations with them. If I profess and I want to be the next United States Senator, I want to be the U.S. Senator for everyone, not just Black people, not just Democrats, not just progressives or moderates, but everyone across the state of Florida.
I want to talk about your campaign briefly. When I say grassroots, I mean it. That's what you're known for, knocking on the doors, really getting into the nitty-gritty of things. Because a lot of times analysts, they look at the numbers. How much money did you raise? You didn't have a lot of money. Right. We didn't see a lot of your ads like we did with other candidates on air. You chose to go through social media, really, as I said, being boots on the ground. Let's talk about your strategy moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have a similar strategy as well. Of course, we're going to try to go up on commercials and that type of stuff. I'm happy to announce here we've raised nearly $1 million in the first 48 hours since our election, so I'm super excited about that. And we're just going to continue to go talk to people. We are amplifying people, right? Organized people will beat big money each and every day. And that's why we want the people to get organized so that we can beat that big money in Washington. There's so much money in politics, and it shouldn't be that way. They're going to spend like billions and billions and billions of dollars this electoral cycle, and meanwhile, we still have veterans that are living on the streets. Meanwhile, we have public schools that are closing in many of our low-income neighborhoods, or we don't have access to quality health care. I am really wanting to shine a light on that and the fact that we need to have more people-centered policies, and that's why I'm supportive of things like Medicare for All, I am supportive of a fully funded public education, wanting to increase the minimum wage, which is currently only set at $7.25. And so these are the things that people are stressed out about and hungry for, and I'm excited to be pushing it out into, the state. And when we win in November, I'm looking forward to Ashley Moody calling me senator.
I want to ask you this because you mentioned policy, and you're not big on titles, we know that, but you've seen the headlines like we all have. Democratic Socialist, that's what your title is at this point. Your reaction to that, seeing that everywhere?
They have called me and labeled me all types of things. I was a single mom. They labeled me rude things when I was just a single mom. I am also a member of the Working Families Party. I just became a lifetime member of NAACP. I'm not concerned with people's titles. What I am concerned with are people's needs. And right now, people are struggling here in our state. And meanwhile, we have folks like Ashley Moody, who is unelected, as well as Donald Trump, who are working less and less and less, and they're getting richer. Meanwhile, everyone else in the working class, and they're working harder, and they still don't have as much to show for it because Donald Trump decided to put these working family taxes on us in the form of tariffs, but yet and still with his big BS bill, because that's what it is, it's not beautiful, he decided to give a huge tax break to his ultra wealthy and billionaire friends and family. This is not about a Republican versus Democrat versus DSA versus conservative versus moderate thing. This is about a top versus bottom thing. And the people at the top want to continue to get richer and want to exploit many of us working families and working class folks. They want to exploit our labor. And I'm saying no more, because it's more of us working people, hard-working people across this state and across this country than it is of the billionaire class. They should not be the ones that are determining our policies. They are the ones who are feeding the campaign coffers of elected officials so that they can destroy the Social Security system, so that they can keep the minimum wage low, so that they cannot allow us to have things like quality health care. And that's because if they do that, then we'll have no choice but to work their crappy jobs that pay so very little. And so that's what it's all about at the end of the day for them. They're just trying to make more money on top of more money on top of more money. I am simply just trying to improve the overall quality of life for everyone here in this state. Maybe not the billionaires, but definitely everyone else.
You mentioned President Trump, and I'm sure you've heard, like everyone else, his comments overnight. It's causing outrage on one side, being applauded on the other. We have this quote again from our current president, Donald Trump, saying the most gratifying loss last night was that of a real treasonous creep, Alexander Vindman, to a radical left lunatic who can't speak or think properly. That's what President Trump wrote on Truth Social. Again, causing outrage on one side, applauded on the other. What are your thoughts to that?
He is simply throwing out red meat to a base. It's a dog whistle. And I am proud of my upbringing, right? I grew up on Moncrief Road, graduated from Stanton College Preparatory High School as one of the top students in the class, then went on to the University of Florida. And I represent my city, my county, my state very well. And also, there's more people like me. Everyone doesn't have to talk the same way. They don't have to look the same way. What I care about is people's hearts, and care about people having the opportunity to be healthy, to be prosperous and safe. And Donald Trump, instead, he just wants to stoke division and push this really hateful and harmful rhetoric. He's literally putting a target on my back. And we can't continue that. Right now in this country, we are witnessing corruption and chaos at an all-time high. I want to help save the soul and, the soul of this country. That's what we're in a fight for, the soul and the humanity of this country. And we're going to win with that. We are not going to attack Ashley Moody in a way personally. We're going to attack her on her record. There are tons of receipts. The receipts meaning she voted against extending the ACA subsidies. which knocked off nearly 300,000 people off the healthcare rolls here in our state and drove up our healthcare premiums for those who had private insurance. The fact that she was given this United States Senate seat after she decided to allow Ron DeSantis and his wife to reroute $10 million that was supposed to be directed towards the state's most medically needy children. She allowed that money to be used to defeat 2 citizen-led ballot initiatives that would have improved the health of many residents here in the state of Florida. Ashley Moody is a problem. Many times people call her office, send her emails, and they don't get a response. You know what they do after that? They call my office to get connected to resources and agencies and departments. I pride myself on being a people-centered, people-focused elected official, and that is how we're going to win.
Representative Nixon, I have to ask you this because you're going to have a lot of viewers watching, and they're saying, I don't really care for Representative Nixon or Moody. They're on the fence. Which way should we go? What do you want to say to those voters in particular?
What I want to say to those voters are, if you want someone who is going to put you first, if you want someone who is going to fight to ensure you have your most basic needs met, then you should vote for me. I am not going to be out here attacking anyone personally, calling them a radical or a lunatic. I want to speak specifically to the receipts and what they have done or what they have failed to do. It is time that we really work to heal the soul of our country. We cannot allow them to continue to divide us. We are neighbors. We deserve so much more. We deserve, again, the opportunity to be healthy, to be prosperous, to be safe, to experience joy and rest. That's what we deserve. We don't deserve to have to work harder than our elected officials and still struggle. We deserve so much more. This is about our children's present and their future, and I am going to fight for that. And I look forward, and I am humbly, personally, right now, asking for your support and for your vote to become your next United States Senator here in the state of Florida.
State Representative Angie Nixon, thanks again for joining us. As I said, I know it's been a very busy 36 hours for you. Appreciate you for that. And we do want to note, we did reach out to Ashley Moody's camp, and we are waiting at this point to schedule an interview with her.